there's chemistry issues from day one. And the last play of the offensive season was a pass towards DJ that ended in an interception when we were 10 to 15 yards from field goal range. You can't ignore it. The elephant is in a room. It's shitting all over the place. And elephants, I don't know if you ever been to the circus, they drop big shits. I mean, I think that the weight of an elephant dung is 30 to 60 pounds per dropping. We can't continue to watch the Caleb Williams, DJ Moore dung show with the elephant. And the elephant is eating, is shitting in the room. The room isn't big enough to continue to have the shit pile up. So you got to do something about it. You either deal with the shit in the room or you get the elephant out the room. Have you ever had an elephant in your room?
I have. You know what? No comment. You seen that shit that Clay Matthews said?
Is this something after the draft when he was yelling irrelevant things like some drunk Wisconsin native on draft day? He did something else?
He did. You know, he be on that Bussin' with the Boys.
Wait, he be on what? On what?
There's his podcast called Bussin' with the Boys.
Bussin' with the Boys.
You
Bussin'.
don't want to get too. Yeah.
Oh, okay, it makes sense. You know what? I'm not even going to ask any questions. I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
Whatever they say he did on that podcast, he did.
Go ahead and listen to what he did.
I think we all agree Bears had a tremendous year. And I think this is a good opportunity for me to just, address the Bears organization real quick to this camera right here. And Chicago, congratulations on a great year. To make it to the divisional round when I predicted that they wouldn't make the playoffs is remarkable. And you overachieved, and for all that, I want to say you're welcome. You're welcome for me sparking that match. For me, just, I may be retired, and you probably thought the rivalry was retired as well, but it wasn't. And the boos I heard at the 2025 NFL draft, they cannot drown out the decades of dominance that the Packers have had over you, okay? So Ben Johnson, I know how good it feels to beat the Packers, okay? And Caleb, to play like the Iceman, you both are welcome. And for the Chicago organization, you're welcome.
He was drunk, wasn't he? He was definitely drunk off some Heinekens.
You think he drinks Heinekens?
He definitely drinks some nasty, watered-down beer. Heineken isn't a domestic, is it?
No, it isn't.
No, he's not drinking that. He's going to drink some
American First.
Yeah, he's definitely drinking a Miller Genuine Draft or a Coors.
Right.
He probably drinks that Coors.
He definitely an American First drinker. So Heineken ain't for him. He's definitely on that, what you said.
Coors.
Bud,
yeah, he definitely Bud. And Bud is terrible, too. Budweiser is an awful beer.
I think we agree with that one. Bud is buns. But he was right about this. The Bears did have a successful season. We can give him that much. Whether or not he's the cause of it, I'm not giving him that.
Why would you want to take credit for that?
Because I'm not going to call him out his name, but the rivalry, even somebody that's no longer affiliated with the Packers, even though he was up there announcing their draft picks, the rivalry runs deep. We've been shooting at the ops the last, week and a half, 2 weeks, ever since the Packers season run. We've been in these social media streets. We still busting at them. No Diddy. Shout out to Busting with the Boys.
I done spin back, and stood over the body a couple times.
Why we was talking about America First? 47 is probably their favorite president. It's been 47 days since the Packers won a game.
I mean, teams like the Browns have won games more recently than the Packers.
And the Browns don't even have a coach.
Are they going to contract the Cleveland Browns? I'll take Corey Swessinger and I'll take Garrett Miles. We could use a linebacker.
We're going to hold that thought. Before we even get into the offseason, let's put a cap on this 2025 season. Bears finished the season with a total record of 12-7, lost in the divisional round against the LA Rams. Q, there was a lot of good, a lot of things to be happy about with this season. With that said, what's your everlasting thoughts on this season? What are you thinking about this season? 10 years from now, what would be your thought?
10 years from now, when I'm telling the story of the 2025 Bears, I'll be saying this is where it started. This is where the dynasty began. When I'm counting all the rings, like the Super Bowl over Pat Mahomes, the Super Bowl over Joe Burrow, the Super Bowl when Josh Allen finally got to the big dance and we blew him out. Shout out to his ancestors, Jim Kelly. He got treated just like Jim Kelly did. When I'm telling the story of the Bears dynasty, I say it began in 2025. And no, it was not a year that culminated with a Super Bowl. It was a fun year. It was one for the ages. It was fun because you knew it was just the beginning. Even when the game ended, you knew the story wasn't ending. It's the arc. It's where the hero starts developing. He got defeated at first, but you know he's like Bruce Leroy. You know he's gonna whoop show enough ass. So we know that this is just the bump in the road, that this is something that they had to put in the plot. The NFL script keepers are masterful. We talking about 100 plus seasons of a Grammy Award, Emmy nominated show. You know, I don't know which one is music and which one is not. We just gonna go with both. Oscar. You know, the NFL script writers, I love this because we're seeing the development, the character development of a GOAT quarterback in Caleb Williams. So I'm gonna tell the story like you. This was a great year. This was a fun year, and this is just the beginning.
I agree with you, man. I do feel like this is the beginning of something special. I do believe that this is just the tip of the iceberg. No, Diddy. That was our 1990 Chicago Bulls. That was our 2015
2015
Chicago
Chicago
Cubs.
Cubs, and you know what? This did have a very 2015 Chicago Cubs like vibe.
And the city came together just like the 2015, 2016 Cubs brought the city together. And Chicago's such a better place when one of the favorites is winning because the city all bonds together. And the Bears did something that a team in Chicago hasn't done in a long time, and that's be a good neighbor. The Bears season led up into the biggest main event for the team, for the city since 2016. Yeah, I'm gonna bring it right back. Derrick Rose jersey night. Derrick Rose getting his number retired. You can only, if the Bears season had to end before then, this is the way you're supposed to lead right into that. So keep the vibes going for the city. I'm gonna just say it again. When Chicago is up, Chicago's is the best place you could ever be, and the Bears are not gonna waste these good vibes. I know they're not. They got the structure in place. So with that said, Q, best moment from the season, best catch, best pass, but whatever you want to do. What was the best moment from this season? Because you know the NFL put out Caleb's mixtape. It's an hour long.
You know why they did that, right? You do know why they did that.
Because he's the next coming. He's the next GOAT.
He's the future. He's the face, and they're getting out in front of it. They already know. Let's start promoting the next face of the NFL. Shout out to the NFL. Like I said, the script writers, they know what they're doing. This one is gonna end well. He is the prince that was promised.
I like that.
The overtime touchdown to DJ Moore in the regular season at Soldier Field. The touchdown to DJ Moore with, I think that was a minute 20 left in the first round. I'll never forget the overtime touchdown to DJ Moore because I'm fighting for playoff positioning in one of my fantasy leagues. So I'm watching the game on the Hulu app, and apparently there's like a 10-second delay. So I'm in a fight for my life. And that was a Sunday night game or Saturday. That was the Amazon Prime game. So I'm like, do I start DJ Moore now? I mean, do I start him today? And I hate Thursday and Saturday games because you have to deal with, if the player busts, you got to look at that bust in your lineup and see somebody on the bench Sunday that's going to excel. So I'm like, okay, I'm having a decent little start to this. And then I'm looking at the score, and the fantasy app was updated before my TV was. So I'm like, how did DJ Moore just get 16 points? And then I'm like, he about to score to win the game. So I'll never forget it for that moment. And then watching that touchdown, just a well-placed ball. The moment wasn't too big for Caleb. DJ came through in the clutch. That was beautiful. And right then and there, I knew we were going to win the division. I knew we had the momentum.
Better catch in the clutch, DJ Moore or Bruce Leroy?
Bruce Leroy caught a bullet with his teeth. DJ Moore caught a frozen rope over his shoulder with a villain hanging over his back. I'm going DJ. I mean, there was no defense on Bruce Leroy.
Sure enough.
Sure enough. Ask the Packers who's the master.
They definitely can't say they the baddest. This ain't Harlem, but the Bears are the shogun around this parts now. For me, the best moment from this season, it's hard to top that walk-off touchdown in overtime, Caleb to DJ Moore. It's hard to top that. But I'm gonna try. The pass to Roma Dunze to keep the season alive against the
4th
same
and 8.
Packers. 4th and 8. I mean, I still don't know how physically how that's possible. You know, they got merch on that play now. That shit that they got
For the jump
t-shirts and
man.
hoodies.
You know what?
Right.
That's a good one. That's a real good one because the one you selected might go down in history when it's all said and done as the moment Caleb arrived, as the moment the Bears arrived. So yeah.
I mean, on a stage like that, and you pull off a play like that, it's it gets everybody's attention. The pass to Cole Kmet, the multiple plays he made against San Francisco, and I think that was Sunday Night Football, or was it Monday Night Football? I don't remember. But there's a lot of plays on offense that we can remember. On defense, it was touchy. I think if we have to split it up by offense and defense, I think the defensive play of the year had to be Tyreek Stevenson snatching the ball from Javonte Williams on the sideline. I think that was in week 3.
Oh, yeah. The Cowboys game. Yeah. The fumble.
Yeah.
The strip.
Right. I think that season that turned around the season. Damn near. I mean, I ain't gonna hold you, but the
Yeah, we
Bears
were
about to get their
0-2.
ass whooped again that game.
We were 0-2 and they were running the ball down our throats on that drive.
We was finna catch a smooth one until
Tyreek.
Tyreek. He stepped up and said he made a play. We talk about this all the time. It's like you create your own luck, and
That was a big boy.
a lot of people have a lot to say about the Bears' turnover prowess this season, calling it lucky or whatever, calling the Bears lucky on a whole. But you create your own luck, and that was one of the situations in which he said, "Enough is enough. I'm taking the ball from you." Like Debo took old boy Chain. This is mine now. And then it turned it around from that. 2 plays later, flea flicker to Luther Burton for a 40-some-odd yard touchdown, and we took off from there.
Yeah, I agree. If I had to go with a defensive play of the year, I would go with I'm trying to. There was a Nashon Wright play where he stripped the ball on the tush push.
Hurts. Yeah.
The tush push. I would have to go with that one. Because that just symbolized to me that embodied this team's never give up attitude. The tush push is looked at Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet. You can't stop it, and he stopped it. So that was an Avenger level move by Nashon Wright. If we go to the defense, that is my memory from the 2025 season. That defensive play,
not a bad choice. Because I think you kind of broke the tush push right there. They haven't really done it. I think they ran it too much since then. The Bears got Kevin Patullo fired. I'm going to just call it like that.
The new thing is becoming the tight end quarterback sneak. We see Mark Andrews do it.
Better version.
You know what? It is, and I would like Cole Kmet to do it more. Guy 6'6" and 2, bang, get him back there. Especially off subject, but man, the Broncos' luck. I'm looking back at that divisional round. Your quarterback goes down on taking a knee. Is that going to change the way teams do things? I know you're old like me. I know you remember when the backup kicker used to be the holder. The backup quarterback used to be the placeholder for the kicker. And they were like, no, we can't afford, backup quarterback hurting his finger on, something like that. I wonder if teams are now, when they get into that victory formation, when they kneel down at the end of the half, when they kneel down before a field goal at the end, what if they just going to put in a backup quarterback now? Because that's some tough luck.
I think that was just a unique situation, an outlier, so to speak. Because they had to spot the ball, put him in a better position for the kicker. He just had to go down the offensive line in a particular way, and the defense is still trying to play.
They have to. I don't think it was dirty. I mean, you got to see if you can make somebody fumble.
And his leg got rolled up on, and that was it for him. Which sucks because you never want anybody, reserve or starter, to get hurt, right? But football is football,
especially not like
that. But it sucks mostly.
Yeah. Especially not like
that. But it sucks most for me is because the draft class that Caleb starred in. Could have had two of them guys in the AFC Championship game going mano and mano. It kind of robbed the moment, but we cool for that. We cool for right now because while their teams are in the championship game, Caleb not far off. That whole quarterback class
He's
is gonna be
coming for
one
that
for the
class.
ages. Yeah, he is.
And
Next
he
year is
got to
gonna
get
be
it.
his turn.
He got to get his lick back on Drake May. Got to get his lick back on Drake May. Might have to wait till
It
the
was
Super
supposed to
Bowl.
beat them two in the Super Bowl. Yeah,
Uh,
it's supposed to be in the Super Bowl, but we ain't too far. We're gonna catch that hat
may not be
eventually.
this year. May not be this year, but like you said, we're gonna catch that Drake May hat. Shout out to the Patriots fans. We're gonna catch that Drake May hat eventually.
It's not all rosy. There was 7 losses. What position group needs to improve the most? And I'm gonna start this off right here because I think I know where you're going. I'm going to say the wide receiver room. The wide receiver room kind of let the Bears down. I mean, yes, you had, and I'm including the tight ends in this as well. Yes, we had 3 guys have over 600 yards receiving. Yes, we had, I think, 2 guys with 6+ touchdowns receiving. But if you look at all the numbers and everything isn't equal, right? But if you check in all the numbers together, you can better explain to why Caleb was only complete 58% of his passes. At the end of the season, the Bears had the 5th most drops in the season. The Bears didn't. He scored 3 points on the first 2 drives. They should have had a touchdown there. One of them went right through Rome's hands.
Right through his hand.
And the Bears lost that game by 3. Now, a lot of people talk about Ben Johnson choosing not to kick the field goal there. I'm talking about why we didn't score a touchdown when we had a touchdown right there in front of us. And that goes to show you. And that's not the only time Rome has dropped a touchdown. I can count off the top of my head 3 more times Rome has dropped a touchdown. There's been times DJ Moore's dropped touchdowns. And, I'm going to go right to DJ in a second. We've had Alamade Zadeas drop touchdowns. We've had Colston towards the last couple of games of the season drop touchdowns. He's been big down a stretch. I don't want to, shade any of these guys. They've all had their moments. Cole Kmet as well. Cole Kmet, he'll catch a pass and just hit the ground. Like, we need that yak, Cole. We need that yak.
We need that yak. We need that yak in our cup.
DJ Moore, being a leader for that wide receiver room, just a guy that's always professional. He's tough. He plays through a lot of injuries. He even played through, that dirty hit from Nixon. He played through what may have been a concussion in his last game. But I want to talk about something that's not necessarily on the field. I want to talk about stuff that off the field. Now, we saw how the season ended. Yeah, whether or not it was a miscommunication between him and Caleb, I think that's neither here nor there at this point. I want to talk about him being the leader in that locker room and not addressing the media before we've concluded this season. Not after the game. I'll give him a break on that one because he wasn't present in the locker room. That tells me that he was probably in the trainer's room. But not even after the exit interview. I don't know all the details. I don't know if he ducking the media. I don't know if he doesn't want to talk about this stuff or not. But it's not a good look whatsoever. When you're one of the people that people look up to, you have to be accountable. What's one of the things we said all season about Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams? One of the things that we appreciate from them is that they're accountable. They always, they say, hey, that's on me. Ball out on me, coach. They're there at the podium saying what they need to get better at. Jim Moore, he was missing in action. I, again, don't know why, but it's definitely not a good look because, it's not like people are going to forget. You're going to have to talk about this in April if you're still on the team, and we'll talk about that part later. If you still on the team come off-season, OTAs, they're going to ask you, like, hey, so what happened that last play since the last time we saw you? What happened that last play at, in the divisional round? Why didn't you flatten out? What was the problem? What were you looking at? Why did Caleb think to do something else? So all in all, for me, that what's got to improve is the wide receiver room. I don't mean to say it like this, but Rome's got to stay healthy. And Rome's got to catch the ball when it's thrown to him.
You a top 10 pick, bro. You got to be the alpha in that room. You were the highest drafted receiver there. A top 10 pick is extremely high draft capital. When you drafted in the top 10, I don't care what position you are, you should probably be the best player on that team in that position group. If you're a corner, you should be the best corner on that team. If you are an edge, you should be the best edge on that team. If you're a running back, you got to be the best running back. That is extremely valuable draft capital when you're drafted number 9.
When the season started, I was ready to make that take that he was the best wide receiver in that draft. Like Neighbors has done for the season already. There was some other stuff going on. I think he was ready to, bust out. Then it felt like after week 6, he just fell
Definitely,
off.
yeah. Brian Thomas and Lad McConkey did not continue on their rookie season success.
No, they didn't. Brian Thomas looked like a complete bust this season.
Frustrated a lot of fantasy owners this year.
So I don't know if that's around the time he got hurt, where the stress fracture started, but it definitely did not has nothing to do with his hands.
That's the thing that perplexes me. If the injury slowed you down, I can understand that. But the lapse in concentration, he didn't injure his hands, so not being able to secure catches. And the other thing that's frustrated me about Rome is he was billed as a guy who would be able to make those 50-50 balls. He would be able to make those catches. And he has not been able to make the 50-50 catches. He has not been able to catch in traffic as well as build. So, yeah, the receiver room, while there's a lot of talent there is some concern.
What about you? What do you think what position group needs to improve the most?
I think everybody yells edge rusher. My sentiment on that is edge rusher is maybe the most important position on the defense. I'm not going to deny that. But the position group that needs to improve the most on the Bears is the linebackers. We need better impact as linebackers. Me and you have spoken this before. We grew up in the era watching Brian Urlacher and Lance Briggs, guys who forced their will upon their game. They made their presence known. Lance Briggs, like I said, you grew up the same time I did. You watched him make plays at the line of scrimmage. You watched him make plays in the backfield. You watched him force turnovers. You watched him force his will on the offense. Look, you're not going to keep running the ball. Lance Briggs and Brian Urlacher would make tackles behind the line of scrimmage that had the same impact as a sack. Getting your ball carrier 2-3 yards deep in the backfield on 1st and 10. Now you're 2nd and 13. Or on a 2nd and 3, he's tackling Briggs or Urlacher or making a tackle 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Now you're in 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 6. And that tradition continued with Roquan Smith. I'm not seeing enough impact plays off the linebacker group. And I think, people are trying to solve why the run defense is so inefficient, so up and down. Do we need to get a defensive tackle? Do we need the edge rushers to better set the edge? I actually think the linebackers gotta help. I mean, we just don't see those plays being made from Tremaine Edmonds. We don't see stopping the ball carrier at the line of scrimmage or in the backfield or mitigating a long run by, not letting the guy get deep into the second level. I think they need better linebacker play. I think edge rusher is the most important position to address, but I think the edge rushers, Sweat and Booker, are playing at a higher level than the linebackers. I mean, and we haven't seen TJ healthy. We've seen 4 or 5 linebackers. We saw Sewell get hurt. We saw Jackson being pulled up from, I don't know if he was a practice squad or off waivers earlier in the season. We just had a bunch of different guys. So I think the linebacker position group is the one that has to improve the most. We're paying Tremaine Edmonds a lot of money. We got to see the fruits of that labor. And to your DJ point, yeah, I definitely get it, and I definitely agree with your sentiment because DJ's cap hit next year is $28 million. I like DJ. I do. But there is no justification to pay a guy $28 million for 600 yards. It's just, it doesn't work. And I'm a fan of DJ. And when we talk about players on this show, it's not out of spite or unappreciation. I think DJ's a talented player. And I think in certain scenarios, he is worth that money. In this scenario, with Luther Burden emerging, with Roma Dunze, with you investing a top 10 pick in him, with Ja'Day Walker showing that he could come in and make plays, with Colston Loveland showing that he's a future, he's the future at the tight end position, not just the tight end position, but he's a guy that you are going to scheme for. You're going to scheme for Colston Loveland. He is going to be a focal point of your passing attack. Luther Burden can be a focal point of your passing attack. Cole Kmet is steady. There's really almost no justification to be paying DJ $28 million. I don't know if you restructure that contract or if you move on for him, but 600 yards isn't going to cut it. And the way the roster is structured, I can't see DJ ever becoming that big of a focal point of the offense as he was in 2023. I don't think you're going to be getting 150 targets to DJ Moore. I don't think you're going to be looking for him to gain 1,300 yards. I just think that's unrealistic. So piggybacking off your point about the receiver, that group has to improve. but I think linebackers is something that's got to improve too. We got to see more impacts. I know Tremaine Edmonds is getting interceptions early in the year, but we see the linebackers are kind of average in coverage. Is that fair to say? Average to below average? And I don't mean to compare everybody to Urlacher and Briggs. Urlacher's the first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't know if I discussed this on the show, but I think Lance Briggs is deserving of Hall of Fame consideration too. We had Roquan for 4 years. He's a guy that's still building his legacy. He's a guy who could be in Canton one day too. So I understand that I'm comparing them to guys who obviously going to leave a lasting legacy on the NFL. But if we want to get to where we want to get to as a championship level team, the linebacker core has to be upgraded. I don't know if that can be done from within. Like with the receiver group, yes, they have to improve. But I think these guys have the talent and ability to improve. I'm not sure that's the same with the linebacker group. I think there needs to be an influx of talent. I think the receivers can be okay. Ben Johnson talked about in the in his conference, talked about it's going to be a point of emphasis catching a ball. And I didn't realize it. I think it snuck up on everybody with Caleb's completion percentage. The Bears dropped a lot of footballs. A lot of footballs. I was looking at a stat. I don't know if you've seen this one. Obviously, every drop pass isn't going to be caught. No team has 0 dropped catches. But I think if they had no drop catches, his completion percentage would have rose by like 4%, 4 or 5%. And what's crazy is the air yards. He finished just short of 4,000 yards. He'd had 4,300 passing yards if attributed to those drop balls. That is a crazy difference. And that is almost MVP level numbers. You add 2 touchdowns, 400 yards, and 4 or 5. Hey, go look at Matt Stafford and Drake May's years. They both thrown for I think 440. Caleb would have been right there in passing yards. That's something that has to be addressed in the offseason. And like I said, with the receiver group, the one thing I am is I'm confident that they can make the improvement with the talent on the roster. They just gotta focus better. They gotta execute.
Execution is the name of the game. Hit the nail on the head right there with that one. Guys just got to execute better. But with all that said, we were talking about that execution a lot during training camp. We was like, man, this team is not executing. Man, they getting cussed out every damn day. That's the report from training camp. And fast forward from the 90-degree days in camp to what it is now, it's 40 degrees below. We're a week out from the season ending, and we're still talking about execution. But the results were not bad. We were happy with what we got. They definitely exceeded what we thought we were going to get out of the Bears when it was 90 degrees outside. So with that being said, let's go ahead and segue right into the offseason. The burning questions that's headed for this team as we lead up into those next 90-degree days in Lake Forest as we get ready for the 2026 version of the Ben Johnson / Caleb Williams era of the Chicago Bears. I think the number one question, Q, as of right now, is how much of the staff Ben Johnson is going to be able to retain. I remember when he was putting his staff together, like, damn, this is a 5-star coaching staff. I don't think anybody else has had a dream team as good as Ben Johnson put together since OJ's legal defense when he was trying to get off that murder.
Trying?
That was, yeah, he did. My bad. He did get off that murder.
Rest in peace, OJ.
They don't want to go too far down that road.
Hey, he was acquitted. The man was acquitted.
He was acquitted. You're right. That is facts. He
I mean,
was acquitted. In the eyes of the law,
he's been charged with less felonies than your president. So,
how about that? OJ should have ran for president. In a different era, he could have made it.
It's okay to be a felon and misogynistic and racist and kill people.
Right now, the reports of Eric Bieniemy leaving the staff is still up in the air. I think this is all based on what Matt Nagy would do. Matt Nagy doesn't have a job yet. Last episode, I did say he was supposed to be going to the University of Tennessee. That was incorrect. He was supposed to be getting Tennessee Titans job.
So I'm looking. The Chiefs have officially announced Eric Bieniemy is back as the offensive coordinator. I'm looking. It's article 53 minutes ago from the Bleachers report. They have agreed to a contract with Bieniemy amid Matt Nagy's exit.
Okay. All right. So that's running backs coach has an availability. And you also know that Declan Doyle is interviewing for the vacant offensive coordinator position with the Philadelphia Eagles. Not a bad look for him. I think the one that we did expect to leave, Al Harris. Al Harris did a tremendous job coaching up the secondary for the Chicago Bears. He is back where he made his name back in
Is
Green
that
Bay. Another person that's getting attention is the defensive line coach Travis Smith. I don't know why. I would assume the offensive line coach would have drawn some interest
that
from
I'm
some other
surprised.
teams as a possible.
I'm surprised. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm gonna keep that shush right now, because we do have some questions that pertain to the offensive line. I'm gonna bring that up next. Who do you think that the Bears can least afford to lose, coaching wise?
I think they can least afford to lose Dennis Allen. I know people are like, well, the defense didn't have a great year. Well, the defense dealt with a lot of injuries. I believe in Dennis Allen's scheme. And Dennis Allen gets a lot out of DBs. Not to discredit Al Harris, because he does do a good job. As you saw with the Cowboys, he had Trevon Diggs and Deron Bland playing at an all pro level. But I have confidence that Dennis Allen can identify a secondary coach to work with, and that he can continue the secondary doing well and getting. So I think Dennis Allen's the guy that they can afford to least lose. But the good news about Dennis Allen is you're not going to lose him. I'm not trying to be funny, but he's had his head coaching chances twice. If you didn't have a successful stint at least in one of the two stops, you're not getting a third chance to be a head coach. So that's fortunate. Eric Bieniemy, he did have the running back room playing very well. Kyle Monunga, DeAndre Swift ran hard. This is probably the best version of DeAndre Swift we've ever seen. However, I didn't think Bieniemy was long to be on his staff anyways. He's overqualified as a running backs coach. Let's be honest. This is the guy who a few years ago was being interviewed as a head coach. I don't know why he never got his head coaching opportunity in the NFL, especially when I see some of the jabronis who have come and gone and got fired since. And it's like, I'm sure Eric Bieniemy could have done this job. So I don't know why he's not been a head coach yet. I've heard lots of little things, but at the very least, being a coordinator for how many Super Bowls did he win as a coordinator with the Chiefs? Two?
I think it was 2. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
2.
and being offense coordinator, whether he's calling the plays or not, being an offensive coordinator for one of the most prolific quarterback runs that Mahomes' quarterback run from 2018 to 2022 was just prolific. One of the best 4 or 5 year runs we've seen in league history. And say what you want, but Bieniemy was there when he had that run. So, and since Bieniemy has left, Mahomes hasn't been the same quarterback. He hasn't been GOAT Mahomes like. So, the Bieniemy loss hurts. I didn't think Bieniemy was long to be on his staff anyways. I figured if we get a year or two out of Bieniemy, that would be great. Ditto with Al Harris. I knew Al Harris was on the fast track when they hired him to be a defensive coordinator. So those losses hurt, but those losses are expected.
Midway through the season, I was thinking that Declan Doyle might get poached by somebody, you know, even though he's not calling
But
plays.
you know why? But you know why they want to poach him.
Of course. Right. Well, I would assume that someone would have came and got Declan Doyle, and which would have gave Eric Bieniemy the obvious promotion
Yeah,
within
I
the
would have hoped.
Bears.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, maybe that was me being,
optimistic.
like you said, hopeful, yeah, maybe that's what it was. But like I said, with Al Harris, the writing was on the wall with him. His guys were the focal point of the defense. If there's one thing you know about the Bears defense is that it was taking the ball away. Who was the coach in that? Al Harris. So Al Harris goes to he gets a job promotion. Hopefully it's not the last promotion he gets. So he's not with the Packers for too much longer. Go get that head coaching gig for
Go to
you,
the
black
AFC.
man. But like you said about Dennis Allen, nah, you get 2 chances at really carve your name out as a head coach. As of right now, Dennis Allen, he's gonna have to do that. Steve Spagnuolo.
He's a career defensive coordinator. Yeah.
That's what he's gonna have to do. He's gonna have to make his bones that way. Which is not. I mean, not to say that it's anything.
No, it's
to
only
blow your
32
nose
of
at.
those
When
jobs
Steve
in the
Spagnuolo,
world.
that's correct. Just like head coaches, and Steve Spagnuolo has carved out a good niche.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but there's plenty of coordinators in the NFL Hall of Fame, right?
I don't think so. There's 29 coaches in the Hall of Fame. All of them are head coaches.
There's no coordinators. Let me see. I got.
I mean, I don't think there's anybody in the Hall of Fame specifically for their coordinating. Go ahead and check that out for a second.
Okay, Dick LeBeau is in the Hall of Fame, but he's in as a player. Okay, maybe I'm thinking of the NBA has let in assistants in the Hall of Fame. But yeah, there are no coordinators yet in the Hall of Fame, but they're saying that Steve Spagnuolo could enter it.
I think it's a
You
long
think it's a
shot. I
long
don't
shot?
think I don't
Yeah,
think any
because
coordinators are getting
we've
in.
had assistant coaches in basketball get in the Hall of Fame, right? Okay. Yeah, that
The basketball, they let everybody in on basketball. Basketball for
yeah,
streets.
pretty sure Scott Williams and Stacey King will be in the Hall of Fame soon too.
Hey, I'm not. You might be joking, but don't count them out. They might mess around and get in for being announcers or something
Yeah.
like that.
So yeah, there are no court. Dick LeBeau's already in the Hall of Fame, but Dick LeBeau was a very good defensive back too. So I'm looking there saying Steve Spagnuolo could be one considered. I thought Buddy Ryan was in the Hall of Fame.
He just gets a mention. He got a mention. He's there in the as a as an architect of the 4-6
Yeah,
defense. But officially, does he have a bust in that special room?
and he was
No,
actually a
not at
pretty good
all.
head coach too. Well 55-55.
For a
He
little
was
bit.
okay. No postseason wins. Yeah, he had an Oilers team that was pretty good and an Eagles team that was pretty good, but the Eagles couldn't. Neither one of his teams could do anything in the playoffs.
The thing that got him fired from Philadelphia, if I remember correctly, they had the best defense, but didn't even make the playoffs. Yeah, that
I remember as a kid, that defense was so good that it was nearly like historically good, like in terms of points allowed. It was like a stifling. Remember Reggie White, Clyde Simmons, Eric McMillan. I mean, that was a ferocious. They did make the playoffs, and they actually got beat by the Bears in the playoffs before. They just couldn't win a game. I think he made the playoffs once with the Eagles or
right.
twice with the Eagles, and he had some good records. I mean, he had 10-6 records. They just couldn't get in the playoffs. They just I mean, they didn't have a lot of offense.
If he was a coach
Yeah.
now, he'd have been better than the Packers at least, because 7 seed ass Packers. So the Bears coaching vacancies, however many they may be, is the hot topic now because Black Monday is the dust is still settling on that. But as we get further into the offseason, the next big topics for the construction of the squad is going to grow in importance. You've got, will the Bears acquire a premier pass rusher to go alongside Montez Sweat? What's the cap situation? What's the future of DJ Moore? How will they solve the left tackle question for next season? Those are some of the larger questions. So it's been a talking point for, I think, 3 off seasons now, that the Bears need help rushing the passer. You saw that rear his ugly head a lot towards the end of the season, where you had these quarterbacks come in and had a way with the Bears secondary because, for one, they were unhealthy. For two, you can't ask these guys to defend guys forever, and the Bears just could not get pressure, not with the blitz and not before. So if you watch the press conference with Ryan Poles after the season, he kind of threw some cold water on whether or not they would go after Max Crosby or any other big name guys, saying, I think his exact quotes was, he's not going to do what everyone wants him to do in that regard. So do you think it is a necessary thing that the Bears explicitly have to get a veteran premier pass rusher in free agency point?
Well, I don't know if there's a guy available in free agency. I think the only guys that are premier are available in the draft.
For edge rushers, we have Trey Hignerson, obviously is the highest market value, has the highest market value. You got Khalil Mack still out there, Hassan Reddick, Joey Bosa, Malcolm Kuntz, Danico Autry, Leonard Floyd. Some of these names might sound familiar to you.
Yeah.
Gross Matos from the Niners, Draymond Jones, Samson Egbo,
Oh, they go.
Arden Key, Joseph Asai, Dante Fowler, some names, Calvin Noy. It's some names out there. If you're an NFL fan, you've heard before. They've actually got some Pro Bowls, All Pros
A
under
little
their
value,
belt.
but not at the top of their game. Yeah.
Right. Marcus Davenport is out there. Boy Mafe, David Ajobo. So there's some names out there that's expected to be available come free agent period. Now, none of these names that I put out there are still in their prime of their career. Definitely not Khalil Mack, definitely not Trey Henderson, not even Leonard Floyd. Right. Draymond Jones might be the closest one to that because he's only 29. He's only got 6 years in the league. Played with Baltimore last. His contract was $8.5 million. But he doesn't strike me as a premier guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's more of a complimentary piece, and we already got enough
Yeah, we need
complimentary
a guy.
pieces. So none of these names interest you at least they don't fit the bill
They're
as a
depth pieces.
premier.
Yeah,
pass
I
rushers.
could use one of the
Right.
issue becomes, you know who I would actually like, and I think he's a free agent, but Clowney. He's still playing good football, but why do people avoid him like the plague?
People don't want to pay him long term. That's what it is.
I get Poe's measured response because I'm not going to be held hostage for one of these edge rushers. You're not. Max Crosby in the Raiders relationship is ending.
And that's why the name Max Crosby keeps coming up, because you're like, hey, nobody's out there. You got to go get somebody from off somebody's team. To which the question becomes, and to your point, you said you don't want to be held hostage. What are you willing to give up for Max Crosby? What are you willing to give up for somebody
So
else?
Max Crosby is an interesting name, and he's a guy who is, I believe he's 28, 29. So he's still in his prime. Obviously, he's in the midst of his prime. He's not just entering his prime. He's not like Khalil Mack when we got him at 26. Nonetheless, you should still be able to get prime peak Crosby maybe three, four more years. Crosby's a hell of a player, and he's probably going to, if all things being equal, he would command a lot of assets. But like I said, that relationship with the Raiders is obviously souring. I don't want to give up 2 first-round picks, a player, and more picks for Crosby because I think at a certain point it becomes detrimental to the depth of your roster. Caleb Williams in his 3rd year. You're going to have to reward him. And the way he's ascending from the midseason mark until the last time we saw him, you saw NFL put out a 55-minute highlight film with him. The guy has all the ability in the world. Like Caleb Williams has ability. I don't know who's the most talented quarterback you personally feel like you've seen, but Caleb ain't far behind whoever that is. I don't know if you think it's who has the most talent in terms of Brett Favre or Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers. Caleb's in that same class in terms of raw ability. And he's entering his 3rd year and his 2nd year in the system. It would be hard for me to imagine next year would not be a very special season for Caleb Williams. And he's taking that to the negotiation table. And you're probably going to have a quarterback that's going to set the market. Let's be honest. Probably going to set the market when it's time to re-sign him. So he's going to tie up a big chunk of that cap. I don't want to be left with our franchise quarterback in a defensive end like Crosby, who's 32, 33, and tying up 30% of our cap. You get what I'm saying? And then he's drained us of draft resources for the next 2 or 3 years. So I get Poe's position on I'm not going to do what everybody wants me to do because I don't want to mortgage the future for Crosby. Would I be aggressive? Yes, absolutely aggressive for Crosby. The only guy I can mortgage my future for because I know the return I'm going to get and because he's such an impactful player and because he is a guy who is in contention for the best of all time in his position is Myles Garrett. If I'm going to be held up for somebody, it would have to be Myles Garrett. A guy like TJ Watt and Max Crosby, I would offer a first, but I'm not offering multiple firsts for those guys. I'd give you a first and a third and maybe a player. DJ Moore is an excellent. I still think DJ Moore can put up those numbers he put up in 2023 in the right system. I mean, for the Raiders, this is just hypothetical. You're going to make Mendoza the number 1 pick. I think that's pretty obvious. You need a quarterback. He's the only quarterback in the draft that will probably be drafted highly. So, and what better way to welcome your new franchise quarterback than get him a quarterback-friendly receiver? You know, DJ offers you run after the catch. He offers you a guy who can go deep. He offers you a sure-handed alternative. He can be effective in the intermediate. DJ can work all 3 levels. That trade would make sense in terms of you get rid of Crosby, you get another first so that you can pair your rookie with a receiver, maybe add another receiver, or maybe add an offensive lineman and give them that protection. Because I think what you got to do as Raiders is you have to insulate this guy. You have to surround him. You got to do the exact opposite of what Matt Eberflus was doing for Justin Fields and Caleb Williams. Do the exact opposite of what Poles and Pace initially did for Fields and Caleb Williams. So yes, I would make a strong offer for Max Crosby. I'm not going to mortgage the future for Matt Crosby or TJ Watt if TJ Watt becomes available. That's another name that could be on the radar. The Steelers, Mike Tomlin stepped down. The Steelers got to consider rebuilding at some point.
You bring up a good point. Two of them, actually. One, do you want to the eternal development question versus acquiring somebody else's proven talent? Do you want to rely on banking on Austin Booker, Javon Dexter, going to the next level? Or do you really need to strike with irons hot while Caleb Williams is still in that rookie contract phase before you got to pay him upwards of $60 million a year, and he's worth it? And you got to strike with irons hot and get somebody next to Montez Sweat who can actually wreak some havoc, and you can bring this whole thing on home before you got to pay Caleb Williams that bag. I don't know. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer.
No, it's
but I
not.
think
It's a real it's a tough decision, and you make a good point. There is a sense of urgency to grab that guy while Caleb Williams is still in that rookie deal. Caleb Williams is entering year 3. You got 3 more years of a discounted franchise quarterback, and then for the rest of Caleb's career, you're going to be paying him what he's worth. So you got 3 more years where you'll be able to do this for the cheap. If you ask me personally, yes, I would go after Max Crosby. I don't want to give up 2 firsts for Max Crosby. I think he's a hell of a player. I personally don't want to do 2 firsts, even though devil's advocate, you're picking 25 this year. Next year, you're picking 32. Sneak preview. Hello, you're picking 32. But I think maybe you could go after Jalen Phillips. But then there's the issue of Ryan Post has to make better decisions in free agency. That Dale Adambeango contract is a ulcer. That is $55 million of wasted money. That is $55 million of a guy rehabbing from an Achilles who wasn't good before he snapped the Achilles. So that's one issue we're dealing with. What to do with Ayo? And I don't know the dead cap on him if you try to cut him, but I don't know if there's a place for Ayo next year.
That's definitely one of those question marks. Scale of 1 to 5, Q. Dale Aberdangbo. Cap casualty?
I'm going to go with a 3, and I'm not going with a 5 only because the structure of the contract. I don't know what his cap hit is. So you signed a guy 1 year ago, and I know he only played, what did he play, 6 games, 7 games before he went down with me?
I think it was 7.
And he really didn't have an impact in him. He wasn't getting pressures. He wasn't getting sacks. In fact, he was losing snaps to Dominique Robinson, and I forgot who else. He was losing snaps. He couldn't hold off Dominique Robinson, who's a rotational end. So you were trying him out in the interior. He didn't get it done. I can't see this turning around. I watched Dio in Indy, and honestly, I remember when we did the free agent show last year. I really didn't understand the Dio move. I get you wanted to start an edge rusher. I just didn't think Dio was that guy. I didn't see it turning around. I'm going to go with a 3 because he needs to be cut. But I don't know the logistics of the cap if it's worth cutting him.
Dio Aberdangbo's cap hit is $20.5 million.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, just a little bit, not too much farther off of DJ Moore, which, segue, you brought him up. Let's start off this question. What is the future of DJ Moore? Q, scale of 1 to 5, cap or no for DJ Moore?
I don't know if he'll be a cap casualty. I think it's more likely because he's a guy who is proven his worth in the NFL. I think he's a guy you can move through the trade market. He's not 30 yet. Obviously, you're not going to get full value for a guy who's 29 years old coming off a career worst year with a cap hit of 28 million. But I think you can get a late round pick for DJ. I think there's teams out there desperate for a receiver. The Eagles are probably moving on from AJ Brown. No, I do not want AJ Brown coming here in a Bears uniform. No. I think he would work wonders in a Ben Johnson offense. I don't know if we want AJ here. I could see DJ going somewhere like Philly or Washington. I think there's places where DJ would be welcomed.
Wherever Justin Fields is the quarterback, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Help him out.
So
Help him out.
I don't think DJ returns. I don't think he returns. You asked me 1 through 5 on a salary cap hit. I'm gonna go 2 because even though I don't think he returns, I don't think it's a salary cap move. I think he has enough value where you can get a pick for him.
Yeah, his salary cap hit is 28 million. Not likely the Bears just cut bait.
No,
with him,
he's
right?
too good of a
He
player.
is the Bears' highest paid player of all times, and he's a guy that's well respected within that locker room. So
And around the
definitely don't see
league.
that happening. Anyway, the thing you brought up here, I guess the possibility that's basically been opened up by the last play of the season and by what Ryan Poles has said in his end of season press conference. And I'm going to quote what he said. He said there's a lot of decisions to be made in figuring out the roster moving forward when they asked directly about DJ Moore. So, I mean, that's a pretty vague answer. So you can, take what you want with that. Given the range, if trading him to clear up some cap space, because I think the Bears are, $7 million over the cap right now. Trading him to clear up cap space and to give the reins over to younger receivers like Rome and Luther, it all makes perfect sense. It all makes perfect sense to what we said last about striking while the iron's hot. In one, you want to maximize on what the success you had this season, regardless of what Ben Johnson said, that every season is a new season. Treat it like you went 0-16 the previous season. Okay, I hear you, bro. That's good rah-rah talk. But we didn't. The Bears were in the playoffs. They won a playoff game this season. You got to build off that. One, Caleb Williams is going to his third season. You got to build off that. So it all makes sense. You want to clear up some cap space, shore up some holes that you got elsewhere in the roster, and you got young guys that's ready to take over in the wide receiver room. It all makes sense to move on from DJ. And again, we like DJ. We think DJ is a plus to have on this roster. However, it's a business. I don't know what we're recording this before the NFL has officially even said what the cap is going to be next year. For all we know, they might raise the cap $40 million and say, hey, I mean, that makes space for you to keep DJ and be able to do some other stuff. I don't know. Again, it's a business, and the NFL does stand for not for long. And while I'm on the point, while everybody loves DJ, there's been chemistry issues between him and Caleb the whole time.
And it pops up day one, and DJ's a warrior. DJ's a warrior, and DJ is the guy that I will always have fond memories of as a Chicago Bear. But there's chemistry issues from day one, and the last play of the offensive season was a pass towards DJ that ended in an interception when we were 10 to 15 yards from field goal range. You can't ignore it. The elephant is in a room. It's shitting all over the place. And elephants, I don't know if you ever been to the circus, they drop big shits. I mean, I think that the weight of an elephant dung is 30 to 60 pounds per dropping. We can't continue to watch the Caleb Williams, DJ Moore dung show with the elephant. And the elephant is eating, is shitting in the room. The room isn't big enough to continue to have the shit pile up. So you got to do something about it. You either deal with the shit in the room or you get the elephant out the room. Have you ever had an elephant in your room?
I have. You know what? No comment. But I I went on a safari last year. So yeah, I've seen elephant dung. While we're talking about cap casualties and making it possible to figure some other things out, the more pressing needs. You said the pressing need for the Bears is to get better at linebacker. So this is going to be an interesting question I have for you. Scale of 1 to 5. Trey Edmonds, cap casualty.
2, no, 3, because he's another highly paid guy. If edge rusher is the biggest need of the Bears, and Ryan Poles can say what he wants, and I get why he says it, because you don't want to front your move. You don't want to you don't want to come off too thirsty. A lot of you get the young lady's number. You don't want to text her right away. I don't know what y'all do in these days and age. I'm sure everything is just sped up, but you don't want to come off too thirsty. You don't want everybody to know that you looking. You don't want to be the dude in the club trying to buy. As soon as you get there, you trying to buy every girl at the bar a drink. They're going to drink and say thank you and drain your resources. You're going to be broke, and they're going to look at everybody else like, yeah, we got us one. I'm tired of Poles being in the room with the other GMs, and I'm looking and be like, yeah, we got us one. Him over there. We got us one. We can't do that no more. Play it cool. Sit back, buy your drink, sit back and watch. Make casual conversation. They're going to come to you. There's guys in maybe Jalen Phillips, but I don't know who he's going to let go of to make space. What is Trey Edmonds' cap hit? I know he's among the top 5 highest paid Bears as well.
7.
Are you getting $17.5 million worth of production? That's what it comes down to. This is the business. I like all these guys. As fond as I was of this team, we have to deal with reality. Did you get $17.5 million worth of production out of Trey Edmonds? I mean, here's the thing. Off-ball linebacker is another devalued position. I watched Corey Swessinger come in for the Browns and absolutely ball. He was the guy making plays at the line of scrimmage, playing downhill. He made plays in a passing game. Guy's a second-round pick. So you have to look at this from the fact of, is what Trey Edmonds doing, is it irreplaceable? Can you get a replacement for it in the draft? Hell, did we notice what was our record with Trey Edmonds sidelines for when he was on IR?
One thing to consider, because the Bears have a very big question to answer at the left tackle position. Ozzy Trapillo may not play next year.
That's
And based on where the Bears draft at, they may not be able to draft a left tackle either. I think we've completed the Braxton Jones experience. You probably completed the Theo Benedict experience as well. So you're going to be looking for a veteran left tackle come free agency. And if that's the case, you're going to be getting somebody who's probably not as good as Ozzy Trapillo, who's not even a left tackle himself. And if we want somebody better, we're going to have to pony up some money. And we can use whatever money's available. Tremaine Edmonds, again, like you said, is a business. Are we getting our money's worth from Trey Edmonds? Are we getting our money's worth from DJ Moore? I don't know, man. I mean, tough decisions are ahead for Ryan Poles and crew.
So the Bears were 3-1 without Tremaine Edmonds. 3-1 without him. And I don't know about you, but DeMarco Jackson seemed to come in and do a pretty good job.
Other than when he swag surfed on the Packers that one game. Marco Jones was pretty decent.
Hey, Lil Bro was hyped up. He was on charge when Ben Johnson said he likes beating Matt LaFleur twice. DeMarco felt that shit. He was trying to catch a body on the kickoff, and shit wasn't happening fast enough for him. Hey, I'm not mad at him. Don't do it again, but I'm not mad at him.
What do you think the Bears are going to do with this left tackle situation?
Unfortunately, left tackle is like edge rusher and like quarterback. Nobody lets a good one of those guys get to free agency. If you see one in free agency, he's A, a guy who struggled, B, a guy that's probably past his prime, C, a guy that's just not good enough as a long-term solution. Those are guys you got to draft. With the left tackle position, I really don't know. You could see Joe Tooney start camp as a left tackle. You might be best served drafting a left guard until Trapilla was ready. That might be the best solution. It'll be easier to find a quality guard than it is a left tackle.
That's actually the best plan, because you actually got somebody who's versatile enough in Joe Tooney to go out there and play left tackle. You probably don't want to keep him out there too long, but at this point, Ozzy Trapillo, I mean, he's a young guy, so I don't want to count him out, but patella tendon for somebody his size.
We always hear about the ACL. The patella tendon is I would say a worse injury than the ACL. That's a big part of your knee.
And, you need, for Ben Johnson's scheme with the zone blocking or whatever, got to be able to get out there and pull and all this other stuff. Get out in space. Being uncertain with your twitchiness, especially with, again, a guy his size.
That's the key.
That leaves
a guy his size.
It leaves so many questions on.
You putting 300 pounds.
Yeah, he's a big
on the stability of your knee. And don't forget, while you're talking about Ben Johnson's offense, another important thing for a tackle is getting out there running routes. You never know. You never know in a Ben Johnson offense when you got to run a curl or a hitch or a post or be out in the flat. So I think
you just got to be ready.
You got to be ready.
Catch the ball, 79.
Catch the ball.
Scale of 1 to 5. Cap casualty. In fact, I'm going to ask this question differently and this will be the last one. If you got enough money to bring back one of these players, who is it? Jaquan Brisker, Kevin Byard, Nashawn Wright.
Okay. Nashawn, tremendous season. As a corner in this league, in this modern era of football, corner is of higher value than a safety. They're going to get drafted high. They're going to get paid more. And like I said, corners and edge rushers with the modern day, how football is comprised, they're probably the most important guys you have on your defense. One stops the corner receiver. One is even better to stop the quarterback because quarterback can't complete a pass on his back. Nashawn had a tremendous season. Unfortunately, I think Nashawn has priced himself out of what we can pay. I think Nashawn, there may be a return to the mean a little bit next year. I think he's a guy that you saw was solid, but could be picked on in coverage. There were times where teams could go at him. And even though his 6'4" frame is an advantage in those 50-50 balls and those vertical routes, it also presented a little bit of problem in terms of the agility and coming out of breaks. I seen I've seen Ricky Pearsall, who is an emerging receiver, but he's not even one of the elite route runners in the league. I've seen him absolutely turn Nashawn Wright every which way but loose. He had about 15 yards of separation on, I don't know if it was a dagger route, but it was a route that shouldn't have had that much separation. I've seen Addison Russell absolutely route Nashawn into oblivion one time.
Jordan
Who did I
Addison.
say?
You said somebody. You said
You
Chicago hasn't
got
thought
you
about in 10 years.
you got me with the Cubs. Addison Russell, unfortunately, you only unless you're a woman, you're not getting beat much because he certainly wasn't beating the cover off the baseball the last time we seen him either. Jordan Addison, I seen him absolutely rout Nashawn Wright into oblivion. Not once, but twice. Fortunately, there was a guy named J.J. McCarthy who was taking snaps from center, who also was, I don't know what he was throwing to. That ball, listen, good luck to the Minnesota Vikings next year. Actually, no luck to the Minnesota Vikings. You're losing Brian Flores, and J.J. McCarthy is going to get a third opportunity at quarterback. I don't know if he's going to be ineffective or if he's just going to be injured. So I think Nashawn Wright has priced himself out of what I would comfortably want to pay. 'Cause I think he's going to get $50 million, and I don't think he's worth it. I don't know if he's actually better than Tyreek Stevenson. I think he had a better year than Tyreek Stevenson.
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, I don't mean to cut you off, but I think the way the season ended for Tyreek, I don't know if there's a way you can come back from that.
You know, he had some good snaps in the playoffs, though. I'll give him that. Kevin Byard, a great year, All Pro. He's entering his age 33 season. I think we got him on a discount of around $8 million per year. And to be fair, safeties are one of the lower paid, but it's another devalued position. A guy that could be important, but a very devalued position. So, with that being said, long story short, of the guys I want to return, would be Jaquan Brisker. He's 26. He is a homegrown product. Cole was drafted in his first draft. I think he's a very versatile player. You could play him at the line of scrimmage. He looks good in that cover two shell. He's sound fundamentally in pass coverage. Very good tackler. Very good nose for the football in the box. Very good blitzer. I just think a guy like that is a guy that you want to keep on your defense. He's a guy that brings a physicality. He brings an attitude to your defense. No disrespect to Kevin Byard. I think he's a fantastic player. And if we want to go with the thing that turnovers are a year to year thing and can are not a thing you can rely on, what does Kevin Byard do better than Jaquan Brisker? So if we take turnovers out the equation, Jaquan Brisker is a better safety. And I don't like to say take turnovers out the equation because guys like Ed Reed were turning quarterbacks over throughout his entire career. Certain guys just have a nose for the football. When Mike Brown got in the game, he was jarring a ball loose, he was intercepting a ball, or he was right around when it was rolling on the ground, fumble recovery. And I know fumble recovery seems simple, just falling the ball. Wasn't that simple because we saw Javon Dexter chase a ball down, fall on it, flip it, kick it, and not recover it. Well, how many times have we seen guys not do the simple? So I think there's something to be said when a guy has a nose for the ball, and Kevin Byron has a nose for the ball. That being said, I'm going to go with the younger player because one thing Bill Belichick said and one thing he taught is that you'd rather get rid of a guy a year too early than a year too late.
Now, you have let's call it an affinity for Jaquan Brisker, right? What's your personal, I guess, liking for him as a football player? Does that
Yeah.
play into this? Because the question,
Yes.
of
Yes.
course, the question you
I'll
would
be honest. I
have.
mean, I'm capable. I think we all have inherent bias. We all have inherent bias. I've rooted for Jaquan Brisker since he became a Bear. So we all have inherent bias. And yes, there is some bias that plays into it. But I think I also stated the logical case to keep Jaquan Brisker as well.
Yeah, but the argument against him would be concussions. I think he's missed damn near a whole season of football based on just from
Yeah. Yeah, he
concussions
did.
while he's been with the Bears. So, I mean, concussions are a ticking time bomb. You never know how long they are, and I think the science has proven that once you get one, you're most susceptible
Yeah.
to another one, right? Luckily, he played
He played all
what
19 games.
19 games this
And
season.
this is
So
the first year we didn't see him walking into the blue tent every half.
Yeah. So good look for them for that. But now it's time to pay him. I don't know. It's a difficult decision on the way. If you had asked me the same question of those three, I would probably go in that same direction. I would probably say I'm gonna find the money for Jaquan more than I'll find it for Nashawn or Byard. I think I can replace Byard in the draft. Nashawn, yeah, he probably did price himself out. I mean, and that's good for him. I want him to go get that bag. He definitely earns it. But we still do have Jalen Johnson on contract. We still have one more season Tyreek
We still got
Stevenson.
Gordon.
That is, if he isn't, we still got Kyler Gordon.
Don't.
So the secondary that we came
Let's
into the
also
season
not
with
forget.
is still
Let's
here.
also not forget. This guy's coming back from brutal injury too. Terrell Smith. A guy,
And Zy
Zy
Frazier.
Frazier, guy who's a guy 6'3", 210 pounds, and ran a 4.33 during testing. So we got two young corners. Terrell Smith got to get over that. I think he tore a patella too. So and let's not forget, Terrell Smith played some good football. He's another guy that has a lot of injuries because now that I think about it, the patellar tendon isn't the only thing that he's done. In fact, I don't know if you recall, but he was taking snaps from Tyreek Stevenson a couple years ago and then got hurt. His injuries are part of the reason why Tyreek Stevenson had the stranglehold on that boundary cornerback position too. But I'm saying I think we got options to replace Nashawn Wright. He's the easiest guy to replace in that secondary.
Yeah, I got to agree with you there. So it's a lot of questions that Ryan Poles, Ben Johnson have got to figure out from now until training camp opens. And wow, football is we're having so much fun with footballs here, and then in a blink of an eye, it's all gone. 227 days until Labor Day, Q. It sound like it's far away, but it's never that far. Football is a year-round sport. And with that said, we'll be back with more Bears stuff. Q, you gonna start digging into your draft
I
coverage,
definitely
and
am.
we'll be back talking
But
about that.
227 days is a lot of time, and I don't know if it's just me. Ever since the inauguration day last year in 2025, so many things have happened. I mean, what's your over under?
A few of them good.
What's your over under on having an expansion team in the new U.S. territory of Greenland? The Greenland is out next year. Greenland could be another state, and we could have an expansion team there in the NBA or the NFL.
We don't need an expansion team up there. We actually just need to send one out there, and I got the perfect team for that.
Packers?
See you later, Packers.
I
Greenland
mean, you can
Packers.
send
Fits Greenland already,
yeah,
right?
Greenland, but send them away. I mean, you can send the Vikings there too. I mean, now they could be real Vikings or Nordic Icemen. So,
In the
how,
ball.
how about this? There's a team on the south side looking for a new stadium. They don't get fans anyway. Listen, there's about 60,000 people in Greenland. They can have an excuse for only having 60 people show up to the game now.
Hey man, you cooking right now, bro. You cooking. All this works. You know what? I'm with it. Go ahead and get Greenland, and that'll be the best thing to happen for the Trump administration. Hey, we needed Greenland to keep Russia off our backs. Russia don't want to come nowhere near them teams.
No.
Because we don't want them nowhere near the US anyway. Easy money.
Bear down.
Thanks for listening to this latest episode from the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan Channel. Don't matter if you listen to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or watch it on Twitch or YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, share with a friend, hit the notification bell so you never miss a drop. And to all the guys from Chicago, we say three things. Bear down, go Cubs go, and sell the team, Jerry.